All right, we have more concerning breaking news. Less than 1 hour after conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was tragically pronounced dead, MAGA Fox News host Jesse Waters goes live on air and declares war. He decides to use the most incendiary, divisive rhetoric by claiming, quote, "They're at war with us. What are we going to do about it?" I want to highlight the shooter is still at large. The Chiron on Fox News says, police looking for Kirk shooting suspect. So the Chiron is admitting that we don't know who did this yet, while Jesse Waters is saying, quote, "They are at war with us." And again, I entirely condemn this. And if you want to make the argument that there's a high likelihood the person who did this disagreed with Charlie Kirk from a more left-leaning or far-left lens, then we can wait for the investigation. I wouldn't disagree that it's likely, but it's definitely not time to be going live on Fox in front of millions of Americans and using the most incendiary rhetoric possible. Jesse Waters is double my age, yet the video that I made in response called for a better, more unified America. I'm going to play the clip in just 1 second, but I want to be clear. This is clear incitement. Jesse Waters tries to draw a narrative of a bunch of tragedies that aren't linked in any way. He cites the shooting of Donald Trump's ear, which was done by a Republican kid. He cites the shooting of 2 Jewish people outside of an embassy, which was done by a far-left, insane, radical lunatic who nobody would defend. No liberal will ever defend this. But let's just listen to this clip of Jesse Waters, and keep in mind, this is rhetoric designed to prime people for more violence. So we need to back off this type of rhetoric, Jesse Waters.
Said this hits differently because Charlie was one of us. And Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead. They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars. They just shot 2 Jews outside the embassy. Think about it. Scalise got shot, barely survived. It's happening. You got trans shooters. You got riots in LA. They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And that's the question we're just going to have to ask ourselves. Now, Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible. Dana nailed it. This is unacceptable and has to stop.
Wait. I just want to pause it. The Chiron at the bottom says, Charlie Kirk assassin still on the loose. At this very moment, we do not know who did this. We don't know their ideology. You could make assumptions in your head, but in what reality is it okay to go on air in front of millions of Americans and use rhetoric about they're at war with us? It is very clear incitement. I have not seen a single politician on the Democratic side say this is okay. Everybody has unequivocally condemned it, and everybody should, so we can tone down the rhetoric, because again, when somebody who disagrees with you is murdered like this, that could lead to somebody who agrees with you getting murdered like this. It is a catalyst for violence that then becomes a chain reaction. But let's finish this clip right here and we'll talk about it further.
And it has to stop now. And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what. The politicians, the media, and all of these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now. Greg's right again. This is a turning point. And we know which direction we're...
Yeah, it is very clear the direction you want to go down, Jesse Waters. The direction of incitement, divisive rhetoric, and immediately hopping on air in front of millions and using political messaging that makes politics sound like it's warfare. I mean, the Chiron says Charlie Kirk assassin still on the loose, yet Jesse Waters tries to create this very specific narrative with all of these terrible examples. He talks about the attempted assassination of Trump. This was a Republican kid who everyone condemns. He then talks about the shooting of 2 people outside of an embassy. This was an anarchist that everybody condemns. You should never just kill people based on who they are. And he leaves out, over the past few months, 2 Democratic lawmakers being assassinated back-to-back inside their homes in Minnesota. This happened, yet Jesse Waters precluded that. I don't want to do this tit-for-tat game on violence because it's not productive. We need to cool everything off. But if we played this tit-for-tat game, Jesse Waters would be quite embarrassed. But again, politics should not be treated like some sort of warfare. Here's my worry. Okay, I'm 22 years old, and we are currently seeing the social fabric of America weakening in real time. I someday want to work towards a future that has less political violence, less division in working democratic systems where billionaires aren't influencing it. So let's talk about some real responsible policy steps that we can use to fix this. But first of all, Wahat said, glad to see this response from the Democrats. This is appropriate and decent. And I want to remind everyone that Trump mocked Paul Pelosi, who was nearly killed by a deranged conspiracy theorist, mocked him publicly at the RNC. So while every Democratic politician is using normal, non-divisive rhetoric, we have Elon Musk and Laura Loomer and everyone saying insane stuff. So here's what we need to do. First of all, we need to fix the online ecosystem. We don't need to limit speech, but social media platforms are now engineered to promote the most inflammatory content because it keeps people clicking. That's why Elon Musk gets 22 million views when he says the left is the party of murder. And that's why Gavin Newsom gets more views when he posts things in all caps. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying the type of attention that the algorithm promotes is the type that Trump and Republicans thrive off of. It's why all caps posts get more views. So we need to make sure violent rhetoric is not rewarded and amplified, but rather we have transparency in the algorithms through legislation, limit calls to violence online, and make sure that, at the very minimum, there are responsible media standards. Networks should be held accountable. I don't know why people like Jesse Waters are allowed to go on air and say that we are now at war. We're not. The president of the United States himself was saying that Chicago is about to be at war. Another thing we can talk about, and this one is rather obvious, but just common sense gun safety. I do want to point out we don't know the identity of the shooter yet, but there are so many scenarios in which common sense gun safety laws could have prevented political rhetoric from just spilling out into real world violence. We also just need more moral leadership. This shouldn't have to be said, but when we have leaders on predominantly one side using insanely inflammatory rhetoric, then it leads to more tension in the country. And there's no denying that, when Donald Trump rose to power in 2012, politics-wise, it was because he said Obama wasn't born in America. That's new. Obama had never had some conspiracy at that level. Obama never spread anything at that level. It was Republicans that started spreading these conspiracy theories. But again, the blame game is useless when our country or the social fabric of our country seems to be weakening. At the Mockler Media channel, we'll continue to spread the truth on a day-by-day basis, and we need you guys. So yes, I condemn this shooting. We need clear messaging right now. I'm getting all these emails of people making jokes and saying insane things. I mean, I just don't think it's a time. I think this is a time to be very careful with rhetoric, and Jesse Waters proves that. If somebody that you don't like can get hurt speaking politics out in public, that can lead to somebody you do like getting hurt. Think about all of your favorite politicians or all of your favorite news anchors or people on YouTube. People can get hurt. That's why we need to tone things down. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. I am eternally grateful. Genuinely, what we're going to build is going to be absolutely beautiful. What we are currently building is beautiful, and it's leading up to that. We're building a team of highly skilled individuals, and this won't stop us. So I love you all, and peace out.